Convicted pornographer Mike Thevis has been pretty quiet since he went to prison. Oh, occasionally he writes to someone in the news business about something or other, but really very quiet. Something is bothering him now, though, and it's bothering the other inmates and even the staff at Atlanta Federal Prison. They don't want the institution to close down.
I'm sure that all of us would love to be housed in a much smaller institution. But at the same time, to do away with something like this and to call it and say, for example, that it's antiquated, that's ridiculous. The buildings have been maintained, upkept, for the most part. While there are some things that need to be corrected, for the most part, it's better than most federal institutions I've been in.
You've been in how many others?
I've been housed in 9 other federal institutions. And if this one should go, then there are at least 5 others that should go who I feel, as a layperson, not an expert, that are in worse shape than this one is.
Thevis talked about a lot of other things, his life in prison, his family, but mostly his children.
And the one thing I want more than anything in my life, even if I wound up with a life sentence for spitting on the sidewalk, is to prove my innocence to the murders, basically so that my children don't have to live with that type of stigma. Although, in all fairness, I can't see where it's told on them in any way. I can't see where their friends have offended them, which I think is very unusual, and maybe it has and they've kept it from me.
You really love your children, don't you?
I'm very close to my children. I would not have been caught today if it hadn't been for my children. There's one thing the most stupid thing that I ever did in my life was to leave prison, to escape. As long as I was in a penitentiary, wherever I was, I saw my children every week. And once I escaped, I never got to see them. So I had a habit of coming to Atlanta and watching my younger children at Chastain Park, for example, playing ball. Even ran into Paul King, FBI agent there. In fact, I remember an episode where while we were on trial in Rome, I was talking to him about where he lived, and he told the judge that I had intimidated him because I knew where he lived. The reason I knew where he lived, I almost ran smack into him, because he lived at the exit to Chastain Park, and I was over there watching an 8-year-old that I have play football.
Mike Thevis had lots more to talk about in a rambling 1-hour conversation. His conviction, how he spends his time in prison, and he says he no longer runs anything anywhere. We'll have more tonight at 11.